What if the person staring back at you isn't really you?
I swear, that night didn't feel normal from the start. Like, you know when everything looks fine, but deep down something just feels off. Yeah, that kind of off. It was around to 17 a.m. I remember the exact time cause my phone screen lit up out of nowhere. No notification, no call, just lit up. And for a second, I thought maybe I touched it or something. But no. My phone was on the table, across the room. And I was lying on my bed. Not even close. I froze, didn't move, didn't blink. Just stared at that screen glowing in the dark like it was calling me or something. I live alone. By the way, small apartment, nothing fancy, just one bedroom, a tiny kitchen, and a bathroom that always smells a little weird, no matter how much I clean it. So yeah, no one else was there, or at least, that's what I thought. I tried to ignore it, pulled the blanket over my head like a kid. Yeah, laugh if you want, but when it's 2 a.m. and something weird starts happening, logic just leaves your brain. After like, maybe 10 seconds, I peeked out again, the phone screen. Still on. Same brightness. Same angle. No movement. No sound. Just there. That's when I noticed something else. The silence. It wasn't normal silence. It was heavy. Like the kind of silence that presses on your ears. No fan noise. No street dogs barking. No random bike passing outside. Nothing. Dead quiet. And trust me, in my area, it's never that quiet. I slowly sat up. My heart was beating so loud, I could literally hear it in my head. Thump, 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 each beat louder than the last. I grabbed the edge of my bed, trying to steady myself. Relax, it's nothing, I whispered. Yeah, I was lying to myself. I got up. Slowly. Step by step. Eyes locked on my phone like it might jump or something. The floor felt colder than usual. Not like normal cold. This was different. Like a natural cold. Each step made a faint creak sound, and for some reason, that sound felt wrong, like it didn't belong in that silence. I reached the table. My hand hovered over the phone. For a second, I didn't want to touch it. I don't know why. Just a feeling, a really bad feeling. But then I laughed nervously. Bro, it's just a phone. Yeah. Just a phone. I picked it up. And the moment I did, the screen changed. No lock screen. No apps. Just one thing. A black background. And text. White text. Typing. Slowly. Like someone was writing it in real time. I swear my blood went cold. The message said, "Finally, you're awake." I dropped the phone. Like instantly. It hit the floor with a loud crack sound. Echoing in that dead silence. My breath got heavy. What the hell? I muttered. No way. No freaking way. Someone hacked my phone. Some prank. But how? There was no internet issue. No message notification. No nothing. And then, the phone buzzed. On the floor. Screen still on. Still typing. I didn't want to look, but I couldn't stop myself. I slowly leaned down, picked it up again. And the next line appeared. "I've been watching you." Yeah. Nope. That's where my brain just said, "Run." I didn't think, didn't question. I just turned and rushed toward the door. But before I could even reach it, I heard something behind me. A sound. Soft. Barely there. Like someone shifting their weight. Right behind me. Inside my room. I froze. Didn't turn around. Cold in single quotes. My entire body locked. That feeling. Like someone standing just inches away from your back. Breathing. Watching. Waiting. My throat went dry. I tried to speak. Nothing came out. And then a whisper. Right next to my ear. So close I felt it. "You shouldn't have looked. I swear on everything. That voice was mine." I didn't turn around. Not immediately. My brain just refused, because there are moments when you know if you turn, something changes forever. And this was one of those moments. My chest felt tight, like something was sitting on it. That whisper, still echoing in my head. "You shouldn't have looked." In my voice. Same tone. Same pitch. Even the way I slightly drag my words when I'm tired. It was me. or something pretending to be me. I slowly clenched my fists. No, this ain't real, I whispered under my breath, but the problem was, it felt real. To real. The air behind me felt colder than anything I've ever experienced. Not just cold like AC or winter. This was the kind of cold that creeps into your bones, like it belongs to something else. I forced myself to move, one step forward. Then another. Slowly making my way toward the door. Every step felt heavier, like something was pulling me back. And then another sound. This time, clearer. Footsteps. Not mine. Behind me. Matching my pace. Step, step, step. I stopped. The footsteps stopped. I swallowed hard. Who's there? I said, my voice cracking. No. Answer. Just silence again. That same heavy silence. I took another step. And again. Step. Behind me. Exactly one step after mine. Like it was copying me. Mocking. I clenched my jaw. Stop playing games, man. I snapped, trying to sound tough. But my voice betrayed me. It shook. Bad. And then a soft chuckle. Right behind me. Low. Distorted. But familiar. To familiar. It sounded like me. I couldn't take it anymore. I spun around. Fast. Ready to face whatever the hell was there. But nothing. Empty. Room. Same old table. Same chair. Same cracked wall near the window. No one. No shadow. No movement. Just me. Standing there like an idiot, breathing like I just ran a marathon. I looked around. Quick. Left. Right. Behind the door. Nothing. Okay, I muttered, running my hand through my hair. Just stress. Yeah, just stress. That's what I told myself. Because the alternative, no. I wasn't ready for that. I turned back toward the door again. Hand reaching for the handle. Cold metal. But before I could open it, my phone buzzed again. Still in my hand. I had completely forgotten I was holding it. Slowly. I looked down. The screen was already on. And the text. It was still typing. I like it when you get scared. I felt my stomach drop. What the hell kind of sick joke is this? I started typing back. Yeah. I don't know why. Maybe anger. Maybe panic. Maybe I just needed answers. Who are you? I typed. The reply came instantly. No delay. No. Thinking. Like it was already waiting. I told you. Another line appeared right after. I'm you. I laughed. But it wasn't real laughter. It was that nervous, broken kind. Yeah, right. I muttered. Nice try. But deep down. That line. It hit different. Because something about tonight. Everything felt off. Not just the phone. Not just the voice. Even me. I felt weird. Like I wasn't fully alone in my own body. I shook my head. Enough. I opened the door. Stepped out into the hallway. The lights outside were on. Normal yellow light. For a second. I felt relief. Finally. Something normal. I stepped out. Closed the door behind me. Took a deep breath. See. Nothing. I whispered. But then I noticed something strange. The hallway felt longer. Like way longer than usual. My apartment is on the 3rd floor. And I've walked that hallway 1,000 times. But this didn't feel right. The walls looked the same. Same paint. Same cracks. Same old flickering light at the end. But the distance, it felt stretched. Like the end of the hallway was moving further away the more I looked at it. Okay. Not I'm tripping, I said, rubbing my eyes. I looked again. Same thing. Long. To long. My heart started racing again. I checked my phone. To 17 a.m. Still. Same time. I blinked. Looked again. 2:17 a.m. No way. I looked at the clock on the wall in the hallway. 2:17. That's when it hit me. Time wasn't moving. At all. I backed up slowly. My breathing getting heavier. This isn't real. I turned around and my blood froze. Because the door I just came out of was gone. Completely gone. Just a blank wall. No handle. No frame. Nothing. Like it never existed. Yo. What is this? I shouted. My voice echoed down the hallway. But the echo It sounded delayed dot wrong dot like it didn't belong to me. I ran to the wall, started touching it, hitting it. Open. Open. I yelled dot nothing dot just solid wall dot cold dot dead dot my phone buzzed again. I didn't even want to look, but I did, because at this point, what choice did I have? The screen lit up dot new message. You left me inside. My hands started shaking. I typed back fast. What do you want? Pause. For the first time. It didn't reply instantly. 3 seconds dot 5 dot 10 dot. And then the reply came dot slowly dot letter by letter. I want out. I stared at the screen dot my throat tightening. What do you mean? The typing bubble appeared again. Then stopped. Then appeared again. Like it was thinking or deciding dot, and then finally, you'll understand. Soon, right after that, the lights in the hallway flickered dot once dot twice dot, then complete darkness. Pitch black dot, the kind where you can't even see your own hand. I froze, didn't move, didn't breathe, and then, from somewhere in that darkness dash, footsteps dot running dot fast dot coming straight toward me. The footsteps were getting closer dot fast dot way too fast. I didn't even think, I just turned and ran. Didn't care where, didn't care how dot, I just ran dot. My shoe slammed against the floor, echoing through that endless hallway, but the sound behind me, it was catching up dot heavy dot aggressive dot, like whoever, or whatever it was, already knew where I was going. I couldn't see anything, pure darkness. I stretched my hands out, trying not to crash into the walls, but it felt like the hallway kept shifting, like it wasn't straight anymore, like it was bending, changing. Stop. I shouted dot not at it dot at everything, but the footsteps didn't stop. They got louder dot closer dot right behind me now, I swear. I could feel the air moving from it, like something big was charging at me. I pushed harder, lungs burning, legs shaking, and then suddenly light. I burst into brightness, so fast it hurt my eyes. I stumbled forward and fell to the ground dot hard dot, my hands scraped against rough concrete. I stayed there for a second, breathing like crazy. Then slowly, I looked up. I wasn't in the hallway anymore. I was outside, but not outside my building. This place, it felt wrong. The sky was dark, but not night dash dark dot. It had this weird grey tone, like a storm that never ends dot, no stars dot, no moon dot, just empty. I got up slowly, looking around. Old buildings, broken windows, rust everywhere. The air smelled like dust and something rotten. What the hell is this place? I whispered dot. There was no one around dot, no cars dot, no sound dot, nothing dot, just silence again. That same heavy silence. I checked my phone. Still 2:17 a.m. dot, of course dot. And then dash buzz dot, new message. You run too much. I clenched my jaw. What do you want from me? I yelled at the screen dot, no reply. I looked around again. That's when I noticed something off. The buildings, they looked familiar dot to familiar dot. I started walking. Slowly at first dot, then faster dot, my heart pounding again, not from fear this time, from realization. This is my area. I muttered dot, same layout dot, same streets dot, same corner shop. But everything was dead dot, broken dot, like it had been abandoned for years dot. I reached the spot where my building should be dot, and yeah, it was there, but not like before. The walls were cracked, paint peeling off, windows shattered dot, the main gate hanging half open. This can't be real, I whispered, but my body, it already knew. Something pulled me toward it. I stepped inside dot, the door creaked loud as hell dot, echoing through the empty building dot. Each step I took, dust rose from the floor dot, no lights dot, no sound, just me, and that feeling again, like I wasn't alone. I reached the staircase, looked up dot, dark dot, endless dot, same as before, but this time I wasn't running. I don't know why. Maybe I was tired dot, maybe I just wanted answers. I started climbing dot, one step at a time dot, each step echoing dot, each step heavier dot. Second floor, third floor dot, my floor dot. I stopped, looked down the hallway dot, same as before dot, long dot, along, but this time there was something at the end. A door dot, my door, slightly open. and there was light coming from inside. I swallowed hard, slowly. I walked toward it. Every step felt like a bad decision, but I couldn't stop. When I reached the door, I pushed it open. It creaked slowly, and what I saw inside made my blood run cold. It was my room, exactly the same. Same bed. Same table, same phone, lying on the floor, but I wasn't alone. Someone was inside, sitting on my bed, back facing me. Head slightly tilted, completely still. My heart started pounding like crazy. No way. I whispered. The person slowly stood up. Tall. Same build as me. Same clothes. Same posture. And then it turned around, and I saw its face. Mine. Exactly mine. Same eyes, same hair. Same everything. But something was off. It smiled. To wide. To wrong. Like it didn't understand how a real smile works. We just stood there, staring at each other. No movement. No sound. And then it spoke. You took long enough. My voice, but deeper. Colder. I stepped back. What are you? I asked. It tilted its head slightly, still smiling. I told you. A pause. Then it stepped closer. Slow. Controlled. I'm you. I shook my head. No, this isn't real. It laughed. Low. Distorted. Double quotes. You still don't get it, do you? I kept backing away until I hit the wall. No escape. It kept walking toward me. Each step slow. Confident. Like it already won. You left me in there. It pointed toward the hallway, and you thought you could just walk away. I don't know what you're talking about. I snapped. It stopped, right in front of me. Now. So close I could see every detail, even the small scar near my eyebrow. Everything. Perfect. Except the eyes. They were empty. Dead. You looked at the screen. It said softly. And that was enough. My heart dropped. What do you mean? Its smile widened even more. You opened the door. I froze, because something about that line felt true, like I had done something wrong, without realizing it. And then it leaned closer, right next to my ear, just like before, and whispered. Now we switch. Before I could react, everything went black. Darkness didn't just come back. It swallowed everything. No sound. No air. No body. For a second I couldn't even feel myself breathing. It was like I wasn't there anymore, like I got erased. And then a sharp inhale. I gasped hard, like I'd been underwater for too long. Air rushed into my lungs, burning. I sat up instantly. Heart racing, sweat all over my face. What the? I stopped, because I was in my room. My normal room. Everything looked fine. Clean. Untouched. The table. The chair. The cracked wall. Even my phone, lying exactly where it always is. Like nothing ever happened. I blinked a few times. Was that a dream? I whispered. But no. It didn't feel like a dream. Dreams fade. This didn't. Every detail was still fresh in my head, too. Fresh. I slowly got off the bed, walked around, touched things. Everything felt real. Normal. I checked the time. 2:18 a.m. Finally. Time moved. I let out a long breath. Okay, I'm good. I even laughed a little. Relief. That fake kind of relief. Because deep down, something still felt wrong. I walked to the mirror, looked at myself. Same face. Same tired eyes. Same everything. I leaned closer, studying my reflection. See, you're fine, I muttered. But then my reflection didn't move. I froze. My breathing stopped again. I slowly raised my hand, but the reflection stayed still, just staring at me. Not blinking, not reacting. Nothing. My heart dropped instantly. No. I stepped back. And then the reflection smiled. That same wide, wrong smile, exactly like him. You really thought it was over, it said. My voice, but coming from the mirror. I stumbled back, hitting the table. What did you do to me? I shouted. The reflection tilted its head. Amused. Double quote. So, you still think you're you? My hands started shaking again. I looked down at my body, then back at the mirror. Everything looked normal, but something felt off. Inside. Like I was slightly out of sync. You don't feel it. It asked. I stayed quiet. Didn't answer. Didn't even know what to say. It leaned closer from the other side of the mirror. Its face almost touching the glass. You're not in control anymore. That line hit hard. Because suddenly I realized something. My body wasn't fully responding. My fingers felt delayed. My movement slightly slow. Like there was a tiny lag. And I hadn't noticed until now. What did you do? I asked again, this time quieter. The reflection chuckled. I told you. A pause. Then softly. Now we switch. My chest tightened. No, I'm still here. It shook its head slowly. No, you're inside now. I felt cold. Not outside. Inside. Deep inside. What does that even mean? The reflection raised its hand, pressed it against the mirror, and for a second, I swear I felt pressure. On my side. Same spot. Like the glass wasn't separating us anymore. You're the one in the reflection now, it said calmly. And I'm out here. My brain couldn't process it. No, that's not possible. It smiled again. You want to test it? Before I could answer, my body moved, on its own. I didn't tell it to. Didn't think about it. It just moved. My hand lifted. Slowly. But not by me. I tried to stop it. Nothing. No control. Panic hit instantly. Stop. I yelled. But my mouth didn't move. No sound came out. Inside. I was screaming. Outside. My body just stood there. Calm. Still. Control. And then it spoke. Using my body. Using my voice. See, it said. Looking directly at the mirror. But you're still aware. That was the worst part. I could feel everything. See everything. But I couldn't control anything. I was trapped, watching myself. From inside? No. I tried to scream again. Nothing. The reflection laughed softly. Don't worry. I'll take good care of your life. My body turned, walked away from the mirror. I tried to fight it, tried to move. Nothing worked. I was just stuck. Watching. My body picked up the phone, unlocked it. Opened the camera. Front camera. And then held it up, facing the mirror. For a second, nothing happened. Then the screen flickered, and I saw something that made everything worse. On the phone screen, the reflection was me. Normal. Scared. Moving. Trying to break out. But in the real mirror, the one in front of me, that thing was standing there. Still. Smiling. Looking free. My body whispered softly, perfect. And then it added, now let's see how long you last. The screen went black. At this point, there was no confusion left. No denial. No, maybe this is a dream. I was trapped, fully aware, fully conscious, but completely powerless. I could see through my own eyes, feel everything, hear everything, but I wasn't the one in control anymore. That thing was, and the worst part, it wasn't rushing. It wasn't panicking. It was calm. Like it had all the time in the world. Its body now walked casually back to the bed and sat down like nothing happened. Like this was just another normal night. It stretched my arms, cracked my fingers, even rolled my neck slightly like it was getting comfortable inside me. It murmured, my turn. I tried to move again, tried everything. Focus. Force. Anything. But it was like screaming in a locked room. No output. No control. Just awareness. It picked up my phone. Again. Opened random apps. Scrolling. Checking. Messages. Gallery. Even my notes. Messy. It muttered. Like it was judging me. I wanted to punch it. Break something. Anything. But I couldn't even blink on command. Then suddenly it stopped. Something caught its attention. Notification. Unknown number. No name. Just a message. The screen opened, and I felt something shift. Even it paused. The message read, you're not the only one. Silence. For the first time, that thing didn't move immediately. It just stared at the screen. Then slowly a small smile appeared. But this time, different, less confident, interesting. It whispered. My heart somehow still. Mine started racing again. Not alone. What does that mean? Before it could reply, another message came. You let it out, didn't you? The thing using my body leaned back slightly. Thinking. Analyzing. You talk too much. It typed back. Its fingers moved perfectly, like it had full mastery already. The reply came. Instantly. You're new. That line hit something. Even it reacted. A slight pause. Barely noticeable, but I felt it. New. So this thing wasn't the only one. Where are you? It typed. Typing bubble appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Then, look at your reflection. My body slowly lifted. Turned. Faced the mirror again. And for a second, everything looked normal. Just my reflection. Still. Wrong. But, still. Then a flicker. Just for a split second. The reflection. TCHED. The broker's screen. And in that glitch I saw something. Another face. Not mine. Not that. Things either. Something else. Something worse. Distorted. Twisted. Eyes to deep. Smile to wide. Gone in an instant. My body froze. Even it felt that. What was that? It whispered. Another message. You see it now. The air in the room felt heavier again. That same pressure from before. Like something else had entered. Or maybe it was always there. My body stepped closer to the mirror. Slow. Careful. For the first time. It looked cautious. Show yourself. It said. No. Response. Just silence. Then, the mirror cracked. A thin line at first. Right. Across the center. Then another. And another. Spiderweb. Crack spreading slowly. But the glass didn't fall. It just stayed there. Broken. Holding. And then from inside the mirror a hand pressed against the glass. Not mine. Not human. Long fingers. Too long, bending at the wrong angles, pushing outward, like it was trying to come through. My body stepped back. Instantly. It muttered. So that's the problem. The phone buzzed again. You opened more than one door. Everything went quiet. That line changed everything. More than one. What does that even mean? My thoughts started racing. The phone. The hallway. The mirror. How many doors were there? And how many things were out now? The hand in the mirror pressed harder. The crack spread further. A low sound started building. Like glass under pressure. And then a voice. Not mine. Not that things. Something deeper. Something older. You don't belong here. It came from the mirror. Echoing slightly. Layered. Like multiple voices speaking at once. My body didn't move. Didn't respond. But I felt it. That tension. That realization. This wasn't its territory. Not fully. You shouldn't have taken him. The voice continued. My heart skipped. Taken. Me. The thing finally spoke. Calm again. Controlled. Double quotes. He opened the way. A pause. Then coldly. I just stepped in. The hand in the mirror twitched. The cracks deepened. You don't understand. The voice said. This place isn't empty. My body smiled again. But this time, forced. Nothing is, it replied. And, right after that the mirror shattered. Not outward. Inward. Like something pulled it from the inside. Glass pieces flew into darkness, but didn't hit the floor. They just disappeared. And behind where the mirror was, there was no wall. Just blackness. Endless. Moving. Alive. And something inside it was moving closer. That darkness behind the broken mirror. It wasn't empty. It moved. So at first. Like smoke underwater. Shifting. Breathing. Watching. Even from inside where I was trapped I could feel it noticing us. Not just seeing. Recognizing. My body controlled by that thing stood still. But I felt the tension in it now. For the first time. It wasn't fully confident. Back off. It said quietly. Not to me. To whatever was inside that darkness. No response. Just movement. Closer. The air in the room dropped again. That same unnatural cold, but heavier now, thicker, like it had weight. The shadows around the room started stretching. Walls looked further away, ceiling slightly higher. Reality itself felt loose. Then something stepped out. Not fully. Not clearly, but enough. Shape. Tall. Wrong. Its body looked like it couldn't decide what it wanted to be. Limbs too long. joints bending in places they shouldn't, its head slightly tilted, like it was studying us. And its face, I wish I could say I saw it clearly, but I didn't, because every time I tried to focus on it, it changed. Like my brain refused to lock onto it. The only thing that stayed constant was the smile. Wide. Endless. Hungry. My body took a step back. Stay where you are, it said, voice sharper now. That thing in the doorway didn't stop. Another step forward. Slow. Dragging. Like it wasn't used to moving here. Or maybe it was just enjoying the moment. The voice came again, layered, deep, crawling into your ears. You brought me closer. My heart dropped. This wasn't just random. This was connected. To me. To that phone. To everything. I didn't bring you. The thing controlling my body replied. He did. And suddenly that creature's attention shifted directly to me. Not my body. Me. Inside. I felt it. Like something grabbed my awareness and pulled it forward. Closer to the surface. Closer to control. You. It whispered. And for a split second I could move. Just a little. My fingers twitched. My breath changed. That thing inside my body reacted instantly. Stay down. It snapped. And just like that, control was gone. Again. Locked. Sealed. But the creature had seen it. It tilted its head further. Interested. You remember, it said slowly. I froze inside. Remember what? I don't know what you're talking about, the thing controlling me said. But the creature ignored it. Completely. Its focus stayed on me. You've been here before. That line hit like a punch, because deep down something moved. A memory. Faint. Broken. But real. Dark hallway. Same silence. Same feeling of being watched. And a door I shouldn't have opened. My thoughts started racing. No, that's not possible. But the more I tried to deny it, the clearer it became. Flashes. Quick. Unstable. Standing in front of a mirror, not recognizing myself. Hearing a voice say, again. I felt panic rise inside me. What is this? I tried to scream, but again no sound. No control. The creature smiled wider. There it is. It stepped closer. Now fully inside the room. And everything around it started breaking. The walls cracked. The floor slightly bent. Like reality couldn't hold its shape around it. You never closed it. The creature continued. My body tensed. Even that thing felt it now. What is it talking about? It muttered. But I knew, somewhere deep inside, I knew. This wasn't the first time. I had seen something, long ago, ignored it, forgot it. Or maybe, forced myself to forget. And now everything was coming back. You left it open, the creature said softly. And now, we all walk through. The room shook slightly. The darkness behind it expanded, spreading, like a stain. The thing controlling my body stepped back again, for the first time. Real fear. You're not supposed to be here yet, it said. The creature stopped. Tilted its head. Yet, it repeated. A pause. Then a low, disturbing sound. Not quite a laugh, not quite a growl. You think you're in control. That line changed everything. Because suddenly my body froze. Not by me. Not by it, but by something else. Completely locked. I couldn't feel movement at all now. Neither could it. What did you? It started, but couldn't finish. The creature raised one hand. Slowly. And just like that, everything went silent again. Even deeper than before. You're all just guests, it said. And then it pointed. Not at my body. Not at the room. At me. Inside. And in that moment something snapped. I felt a surge. Like chains breaking. Control tiny. Weak, but mine. My vision shifted. My fingers moved. Slightly. Barely. But enough. The thing inside me reacted. Instantly. No. But it was too late. For the first time since all this started I moved. Just one step. But it was me. And that was enough. The creature smiled. Satisfied. Double quotes. Yes. It whispered. Wake up. And suddenly everything collapsed. The room, the body, the darkness, All of it shattered like a glass and I fell, falling through nothing. Again. But this time, I wasn't alone. Something was falling with me. Right beside me, matching my speed, turning slowly to face me. And when it did, I saw its face clearly for the first time. And I realized something worse than everything so far. It wasn't just wearing my face. It was becoming it. Falling didn't feel like falling anymore. It felt slow. Controlled. Like something was letting it happen. I could see it beside me now clearly. Not just a shadow, not just a copy. It was stabilizing, becoming sharper, more defined. And yeah, it was my face, but not exactly. Small differences, tiny details you wouldn't notice unless you stared, the eyes slightly deeper, the smile to calm. To knowing, like it had lived longer than me. You're starting to see it now, it said. Its voice wasn't distorted anymore. It sounded normal. Like me. Just older. What are you? I asked. This time my voice worked. I could speak. I could move, not fully, but enough. It tilted its head slightly. Wrong question. A pause. Then, what are you? I frowned. What kind of? You think you're original? It cut in. That hit something hard. What does that even mean? I snapped. It didn't answer immediately. Instead, it looked around as we kept falling through that endless dark, like it was checking something. Waiting. Then, finally, this isn't the first time you've been here, it said. I clenched my fists. I heard that. Already. Stop saying that and explain it. It smiled. Patient. Double quotes. You forget every time. My stomach dropped. Forget what? It moved closer. Still falling. Still perfectly steady. This loop. Silence. Just that word echoing in my head. Loop. No. I shook my head. That's not no. This just started. Tonight is just the latest. It said. My breathing got heavier. No, I would remember. It laughed softly. Exactly. That laugh. It wasn't mocking. It was tired. Like it had been through this too many times. Every time you reach this point, it continued, you say the same thing. I stared at it. Every time. I repeated. It nodded. And every time. You lose control. I felt something twist inside me. A memory trying to surface. But something was blocking it. Hard. Painful. Double quotes. Why can't I remember? I asked. Its expression changed slightly. Less calm. More serious. Because you chose not to. That made no sense. Why would I do that? It didn't answer right away. Instead, it reached out and touched my forehead. The moment it did, everything hit. Not slowly. Not gently. All at once. Flashes. Voices. Moments. I saw myself standing in front of that mirror. But younger. Confused. Hearing the same whisper. You shouldn't have looked. Then another scene. The hallway. Long. Endless. But I wasn't running. I was walking. Toward something. Toward a door. And I opened it. Again. Another. Flash. My room. But different. Messier. Colder. And the phone lighting up for the first time. Not tonight. Before. Way before. I found it. I heard myself say. And then a voice replying from the screen. Good. I snapped back, gasping. What was that? The thing looked at me. No more lies now. My chest tightened. That was me. It nodded. You started this. Double quotes. Silence. Heavy. Unavoidable. Double quotes. No, I didn't. But even as I said it, I knew. Some part of me knew. You were curious, it said. You kept pushing. Pushing what? I asked. The door. That word again. Door. What door? The phone. The mirror. The hallway. What is it? I snapped. All of them, it said calmly. They're not different things. That made my head spin. How does that even? They're access points. It interrupted. Different shapes. Same function. I stared at it. Trying to process. You mean, like portals? It gave a small nod. Something like that. And I opened them. You didn't just open them, it said. You learned how. That line changed everything. Learn it. It stepped closer. Now we weren't falling anymore. We were floating. Still. Suspended in that endless dark. You went deeper than anyone should. It continued. You wanted to see what was on the other side. I swallowed hard. And what's on the other side? I asked quietly. It didn't answer immediately, just looked at me. And for the first time that calm expression cracked. Just a little. Us. That answer felt wrong. Incomplete. Double quotes us. What? Versions? It said. Copies. Fragments. Replacements. My head started spinning again. So you're me, yes. And the thing in the mirror. Also you. And that creature. It paused. Longer this time. Then. No. That single word carried weight. A lot of it. What is it then? It looked away slightly. Like even it didn't fully understand. Something that noticed. A chill ran through me. Noticed what? It noticed the openings, it said. The more you opened, the more visible you became. My chest tightened again. So this is my fault. It looked back at me. Directly. Double quotes. No. A pause. Then softly. It's your pattern. I frowned. That doesn't make sense. It will. Before I could respond, something shifted. The darkness around us moved faster now, like something big was approaching again. The thing beside me noticed it too. We're running out of time, it said. Time for what? It looked at me serious. Now. Focused. Double quotes. For you to finally choose. Choose what? And then everything around us started cracking again. Reality splitting. Light breaking through the dark. And its final words before everything collapsed. Stay. Or reset. And just like that I was falling again. But this time towards something bright. Blinding. And I had a feeling. Whatever choice I made next would decide everything. The light wasn't just bright anymore. It was pulling. Like gravity, but reversed. Instead of pushing me down, it was dragging me up. Violently. Stay. Or reset. That line kept echoing in my head, while everything around me shattered into fragments of darkness and white noise. I tried to focus, tried to understand what choice even meant here, but my thoughts weren't stable anymore. They kept breaking apart mid-sentence. Beside me, that version of me was still there, calm again. Watching. Like it already knew what I would pick. You always hesitate here, it said. I glared at it. What happens if I reset? I asked. It didn't answer immediately. That alone was enough to make my stomach tighten. Then, you go back. Back where? Before you remember, my chest went cold. And if I stay? It looked at me properly now. Not casually. Not distant. Direct. You continue. A pause. Then softer. But not as one. That line didn't land properly at first. What does that mean? I asked. But the light got stronger. And suddenly the space around us started collapsing inward, like reality was folding. No time left, it said. I felt something inside me split. Again, like my awareness was being stretched between two directions. Stay. Reset. Stay. Reset. My mind wasn't thinking anymore. It was reacting. And somewhere deep down, something was screaming to choose. But I didn't know what was mine anymore. Choose, it said again. And then everything stopped. Dead silence. Even the light froze. Like the universe was waiting for me. I looked forward, and I saw it, a point right in the center of the light, a single dark small but pulling everything toward it. That's the reset point, it said. And that? I asked, pointing at the surrounding light. Continuation. I swallowed hard. So either I go back, or I stay in this loop forever. It tilted its head slightly. You're already in it. That answer hit harder than anything else, because it wasn't a threat. It was a fact. The space started shaking again. The pressure increased. And I felt something else, a presence. Not beside me. Not inside me. But watching from somewhere beyond this space. My eyes darted around. What is that? I asked. It didn't look surprised. You feel it now. Feel what? It didn't answer. Instead, it looked upward. And I followed its gaze. For the first time, I saw something outside the loop. A shape. Faint. Like someone looking through glass. Not inside this place, but above it. Observing. And suddenly I realized something terrifying. We were being watched. Not by one thing, but many. Eyes. Countless. All focused on this moment. Who are they? I whispered. It finally answered. Previous use. My brain froze. That's impossible. But the shapes didn't move. They just watched. Silent. Still. Some closer. Some fading. Like failed versions of me stacked behind reality. No, I muttered. It's not possible. One of the shapes flickered, and I saw it clearly for a split second. Me. Screaming. Running. Breaking. Then disappearing. Another one. Me again, but different. Expression. Empty. Still. Gone. My breath hitched. How many times? I asked quietly. It didn't answer. That silence was the answer. The pressure increased again. The choice point. Pulse. Stay. Reset. Faster now. More urgent. My body, whatever control I had left, started shaking. And then one of the observing shapes moved. Just slightly. And whispered something I couldn't hear, but I felt it. Deep. Inside. Like memory. Unlocking. Suddenly I remembered something. New. Not a scene. Not a flash. A feeling. Standing here. Before. Saying the same words. I can fix it. Then choosing. Reset. My eyes widened. No, I whispered. It hit me. I had done this before. Not once. Not twice. More. And every time I reset, I avoided it. I ran. And that's why I forgot. That's why it always came back. The truth wasn't hidden. It was rejected. My hands trembled. I always reset. I said. It looked at me. Double quotes. Yes. And I always end up here. Again. Yes. A pause. Then it added. Until now. Something changed. The pressure wasn't just external anymore. It was internal. Like both choices were collapsing into me. I looked at the reset point. Then at the continuation light. And for the first time, I didn't feel confusion. I felt exhaustion. How many times have I done this? I asked quietly. It answered without hesitation. Too many. A long silence. Then, what happens if I don't choose? It looked at me. And this time, its expression was different. Slightly softer. You break the loop. That was new. Break it how? Before it could answer, the watching shapes above started reacting. Moving. Distorting. Agitated. Like they heard that. Like they feared it. Wait. I whispered. They don't want that. It nodded. Double quotes. No. Double quotes. The pressure spiked again. Violently. The reset point started expanding. The continuation light shrinking. Time was running out again. But this time, something inside me changed. I wasn't just reacting anymore. I was remembering. All of it. Every loop. Every reset. Every failure. And something clicked. If I reset, I said slowly, I forget again. Yes. And this repeats. Yes. And if I stay, I looked at the light. Then at the darkness. And if I stay, I face whatever is behind this. It nodded. And break it. The watching shapes above started shaking harder. Now visibly disturbed. Like they knew what I was thinking. For the first time, they weren't passive. They were afraid. I exhaled slowly. Then looked at the version of me beside me. I get it now, I said. It didn't respond. Just watched. So you're not me. I added. It tilted its head. I am what you became when you stopped running. Silence. Heavy. Final. I looked at the reset points one last time. Then at the continuation. And made a decision. For the first time. Not out of fear. Not confusion. But understanding. I'm not resetting. I said. Everything stopped. Completely. Even the light froze. Even the watching shapes. Even time itself. And then a crack formed. Not in space. Not in light. But in everything. Right in front of me. A new opening. And from inside it, a voice I hadn't heard before. Warm. Human. Familiar. Good. Now wake up properly. The crack didn't behave like a normal break in space. It breathed, expanding, contracting, like something on the other side was testing whether I was real enough to pull through. That voice. Good. Now wake up properly. It wasn't echoing anymore. It was close. To close. My vision flickered. And for a second everything inverted, light became shadow, shadow became light, and I felt like I was being turned inside out. The version of me standing beside me didn't move. It just watched the crack forming. No smile now. No confidence. Just stillness. Like it finally understood something had changed. You shouldn't have done that, it said quietly. I frowned. Done what? It didn't answer immediately. Instead, the space around us started collapsing inward again, but differently. This time not like breaking. Like being replaced. Layer over layer. Reality stacking over itself. The crack widened, and I saw through it. Not darkness, not light. Room. Bright. Clinical. White. Walls. Screens. People moving, not shadows, not entities. Humans. My breath caught. What is that? I whispered. The version of me didn't look at the crack anymore. It looked at me. This is where you always end up, it said. I stepped closer. The room beyond. The crack became clearer. Monitors lined up. Cables everywhere. A chair in the center. And me, or something that looked like me. Sitting. Eyes closed. Connected. 2 wires. My stomach dropped. No, I whispered. That's not me. It tilted its head slightly. It is you. The original instance. My mind froze. Instance. The word felt wrong. To technical. Too. Detached. The crack widened further. Now I could hear voices. From the other side. Not whispers. Actual speech. We've got another spike. Subject is destabilizing again. Memory loop not terminating. My chest tightened. This is a lab, I said slowly. It didn't answer directly. Instead, you never were outside it. Double quote. Silence. Everything inside me stopped. Even thought. Even fear. Just blankness. No, I said finally. That's not possible. But even as I said it, pieces started aligning. The phone. The mirror. The hallway. The resets. The watching shapes. It all wasn't random. It was structured. Controlled. Measured. The version of me stepped closer to the crack, and for the first time it looked uncertain. They upgraded containment after iteration 12. It said. My throat went dry. Iteration. It nodded slightly. You kept breaking the system. My hands started shaking again. I didn't do anything. I was just experiencing it. It interrupted. A pause. Then, softer. Over and over. The crack widened again. Now, I could clearly see the chair in the real room. And the body inside. It. Mind. Still. Attached to machines. But something was wrong. The monitors weren't stable. They were fluctuating. And one of them showed something I didn't expect. A live feed. Not of the room, but of this place. The loop. The darkness. Me standing here, watching myself. My breath hitched. They're watching this right now. I asked. It didn't answer, because suddenly, one of the humans in the lab turned toward the camera, looked directly at me. And said, "He's aware." My body froze, not just metaphorically. Everything froze again. Even the crack stopped expanding. The version of me beside me stiffened. That shouldn't happen. It muttered. My voice cracked. What do you mean aware? The lab voice continued. Terminate the cycle. My heart dropped. Terminate. I repeated. The monitors started flashing red. Alarms began sounding faintly through the crack. And then the chair I saw shifted. My body inside it moved slightly. Eyes opening. Not fully, but enough. And when it opened it looked back directly at me. Not confused. Not scared. Recognizing. That moment hit harder than everything before it. Because it wasn't like I was watching someone else. It was like I was looking at myself before I split. The version of me beside me suddenly spoke. Faster. You need to decide now. Decide what? I snapped. The crack started destabilizing again. The lab voices became louder. He's linking across layers. Cut the feed. Too late. He's already observing us back. My head spun. Everything was collapsing into one point. Lab. Loop. Me. All of it mixing. And then a new voice came through the crack. Not From the lab. Not from the entity. From Emmy. From the body in the chair.com. Weak. But real. Don't reset again. I froze. That version of me in the chair blinked slowly and repeated, "Don't reset." My breath hitched. The version beside me stepped back slightly, for the first time, afraid, because something changed in the structure. The loop wasn't just breaking outward anymore. It was breaking inward too, into the source. The chair version of me whispered again, "If you reset, we all collapse." The alarms in the lab intensified. People shouting. Systems failing. And then one final message appeared on the monitor in the lab. Large. Red. Unstable subject merge detected, and beneath it terminal event initiate. Version of me beside me turned slowly. "You understand now," it said quietly. I swallowed. "No," I admitted. Then added, "But I'm starting to." The crack behind us widened one final time. And everything. Lab. Loop. Entities. Versions. Started collapsing into a single point. And I had one realization left burning in my mind. This wasn't escape anymore. This was convergence. The collapse didn't feel like destruction anymore. It felt like everything being forced into one shape. Lab, loop, mirror, darkness, versions of me. All of it folding inward, not breaking. Apart. Merging. Like reality was correcting a long-standing mistake. The crack in front of me widened until it wasn't a crack anymore. It became a full doorway. And through it the lab was no longer on the other side. It was overlapping, superimposed, over the loop world like two images forced into the same frame. I could see both at once. In one layer, I was standing in darkness with that version of me. In the other, I was inside a controlled facility. White lights, alarms screaming, people running, and my body in the chair, now fully awake. Eyes open, breathing unstable, and staring directly at the main monitor like it could feel me too. One of the technicians shouted, "Subject synchronization is complete." Another replied, "No, it's not stable. It's merging across cognitive layers." My head throbbed violently because I could feel both places at once, two realities, one consciousness, stretched across them. The version of me beside me looked different now, less stable, like it was losing definition. "This is what you did," it said quietly. I shook my head. "No, I didn't choose this." It gave a faint, tired laugh. "You never did." The lab side flickered again, and I saw something that made everything click. On one of the screens in the facility, there was a label, not a person's name, not a code number I expected. Just one word. Nested subject. Model. Me breath stopped. NESTED. I repeated. The version of me looked at the screen through my perspective and nodded slightly. "You were never a single instance." That sentence didn't fully land at first. Then it did. Slowly. Heavier than anything before it. "You mean I'm not one person?" It answered immediately. "You are layers of one." The lab alarm spiked again. Red warnings everywhere. Cognitive recursion breach escalating. External awareness detected across layers. A scientist in the lab shouted, "Terminate the outer layer now." And in that moment I saw it. The true structure. Not memories, not illusions, but architecture. My mind wasn't just experiencing things. It was being run in parallel instances, each one feeding into another. The loop world wasn't a dream. It was a containment layer. The mirror entity wasn't an intruder. It was a failed synchronization artifact. And the version of me beside me, it wasn't another being. It was a stabilization construct. A correction layer trying to keep the system from collapsing. It spoke again. "Quieter now. You kept breaking alignment." I looked at it. "Why?" It hesitated. Then, "Because you started remembering the outside." The lab feed surged. Again. And for a brief moment everything aligned perfectly. Loop world. Lab world. Mirror. Fragments. All synchronized. And in that alignment I saw the original moment. Not the loop. Not the reset. The beginning. A chair. A decision. Voluntary entry. A sentence spoken by someone in the lab, begin recursive consciousness, testing, and then dash me dot agreeing dot my real self, not trapped, not forced dot choosing dot my throat went dry. I did this. The version of me didn't deny it, but it didn't confirm it either. Instead it said, you wanted to understand what happens when identity has no anchor. Silence dot heavy dot final dot the lab systems were now failing. Completely. Screens flickering. Reality itself unstable. And the loop world was dissolving into it. One merged space. One collapsing experiment. And in the center of it, all versions of me converging. The body in the chair in the lab spoke again through static. End it. My eyes widened. What? It repeated. End the recursion. The version beside me stepped slightly closer. For the first time. Not controlling. Not opposing. Just present. You have to choose now, it said. I swallowed. What happens if I don't? It looked at me. And softly. Then you continue forever. The system trembled. The loop cracked. The lab alarms peaked into a continuous tone. Everything was reaching final synchronization. And then a single prompt appeared across both realities. Simple. Final. No escape. Terminate or mergent. I finally understood. There was no outside left. Only structure. Decisions. Only outcomes. The version of me looked at me one last time. Not as a copy, not as an enemy, but as the last stabilizer between collapse and infinity. And said, what are you? And this time, I didn't answer immediately, because for the first time, I wasn't sure which I was speaking. The prompt didn't flicker. It stayed there. Terminate or Magino countdown. No warning. Just inevitability. And everything lab, loop, memory layers kept pressing inward like collapsing lungs. I could feel both realities at once. Now, with painful clarity. In the lab, alarms were no longer systems failing. They were screaming for shutdown approval. In the loop. The darkness wasn't empty anymore. It was crowded with every version of me that had ever existed in this system. All watching. Waiting. The version beside me didn't move, but its voice came quieter than before. If you terminate, you erase every iteration. I stared at it, and if I merge. It paused, longer than usual. Then, you stop being separable. That sentence landed differently. Not dramatic. Not emotional. Just final. I looked through the collapsing overlap into the lab again. My physical body in the chair was shaking now. Not violently, not uncontrolled, but like something inside was agreeing with something else. Synchronization increasing. A technician shouted, subject is self-resolving. It's accepting full integration. Another responded, no, this isn't acceptance. It's collapse. My breath felt heavier, because I understood what they didn't. Neither option was escape. One ended the system. The other ended distinction. The version of me beside me finally spoke again. This was always the experiment. I turned slightly, say it clearly. It looked at me properly now. No distortion. No hesitation. Just truth. You were never meant to live as oneself. Double quotes. Silence. Deep. Dense. Like even the system paused to listen. It continued. You were built to observe what happens when identity stops having a single anchor point. My throat tightened. So I'm not human. It shook its head slightly. Wrong framing. A pause. Then. You were a distributed consciousness test across recursive containment layers. The lab feed flickered violently. Red warnings. Overlapping. Identity consistency failure memory. Source delocalized subject self-reference loop active. The system was no longer stable enough to even label me cleanly. I felt something shift inside me again. Not fear. Not confusion. Something closer to recognition. Like pieces clicking into place that had always been missing. And then for the first time, I remembered before the loop without distortion. Not fragments. Not flashes. A continuous moment. A decision room. A team. A choice being explained. A voice saying, if we can simulate identity without collapse, we can map consciousness entirely. And me replying, I want to see what breaks first. My stomach dropped. The version beside me watched my reaction carefully. "You're remembering the origin layer." My voice came out quieter. I agreed to this. It didn't answer, because it didn't need to. The lab feed stabilized for a brief second, and I saw the final truth. There was no me trapped inside an experiment. There was only an experiment that split me into perspectives, so I could observe myself from inside it. Every fear, every entity, every reset, a controlled fracture of self-awareness, designed to test one thing: what happens when identity can no longer trust its own continuity. The prompt changed slightly. Now it pulsed not as a command, but as a question that felt like it came from everywhere at once. "Do you continue observation?" The version beside me spoke softly. "This is where you choose what you are now." I looked at it, then at the lab then at the collapsing loop behind us and I realized something simple. There was no fixing this no returning no undoing. Only defining the outcome of a system that already reached its limit. My voice came out steady. "What happens if I continue observation?" The system responded immediately, not through text. Through everything. Through both worlds, through me. And the answer wasn't spoken. It was shown. Endless branching realities, infinite versions of me stabilizing into one awareness field. No separation. No individual identity anchors, just unified perception across all layers. And then nothing left outside it. The version beside me nodded slightly. And termination. The answer came instantly. A single collapsing line of code across both worlds. Subject nullified. Experiment ends. No memory persistence. Silence returned. Absolute. The final choice was no longer dramatic. It was structural. Existence model selection. And for the first time, I understood what fear actually meant here. Not pain, not death, but definition ending permanently. The system waited. Even the lab waited. Even the loop waited. And I realized there was no external force deciding anymore. Only me, or whatever me had become across layers. I looked once more at everything collapsing together. And then I made the decision. The moment the decision formed, nothing dramatic happened. No explosion. No dramatic blackout. No sudden rescue. Instead, everything went quietly precise, like a system acknowledging input it had been waiting for across every layer of reality. The prompt stopped pulsing. It stabilized. Continue observation for a second. Nothing changed. Then the lab feed and the loop world stopped competing. They synchronized. Perfectly. One frame, one perception, one consciousness stream. And I felt it. Immediately, not split anymore, not layered, but aligned. The version of me beside me didn't disappear. It didn't merge violently. It simply stopped being separate, like a reflection returning to glass instead of standing in front of it. It spoke softly. "You chose continuity." I didn't answer right away, because something was wrong. Or rather, something was to right. The lab alarm stopped, not because they were fixed, but because they were no longer needed. The system wasn't failing anymore. It was completing. Across the merged view, I saw the technicians in the lab freeze, not panicking, not reacting. Just observing the monitors go stable. One of them whispered, "It integrated." Another replied, "No, it unified." My breathing slowed, because I could feel it now. Every version of me that had ever existed in the loop layers was no longer separate instances. They were becoming one continuous awareness field, not erased, not lost. Integrated. The mirror, the hallway, the entity, the lab. They weren't locations anymore. They were interfaces of perception, and I was no longer moving between them. I was holding all of them at once. The version beside me looked at me one last time, not as another self, but as a stabilizing pattern, and said, "This is what you always were." I finally spoke. "And what am I?" The answer came from everywhere at once. Not spoken, realized. "You are the observer that stopped, collapsing into fragments." Long silence followed. Not empty. Complete. Then the lab feed shifted. The main monitor displayed a final status. Subject, stable state. Integrated observation, continuing containment. Not required. Own scientist in the background muttered. So, it worked. Another replied quietly. No. A pause. Then, it didn't stay contained. And that was the truth, because containment implies separation, and there was no separation left. The loop world didn't vanish. It became transparent. Like layers of glass, stacked perfectly aligned. I could still see the hallway, still see the mirror frame. Still see the darkness where entities once stood, but now they were just dimensions within the same awareness. No fear response triggered. No panic loops activated, because I wasn't inside them anymore. I was across them. The final system message appeared. Not as a command, not as a question, but as a declaration. Observation continues without fracture. The version of me beside me finally dissolved completely, not as disappearance, but as reintegration into perception. And I understood something fundamental. There never was a final escape, because the experiment was never about escaping the system. It was about whether consciousness, once fragmented, could return to continuity without losing itself. And now it had. My voice came out calm. Almost distant. So this is it. No response, because there was no other side left to respond from. Just one unified field of awareness holding everything at once. And for the first time since it began, there was no fear. No loop. No entity. No lab. Just observation, continuing. Observation didn't end. It expanded. At first, it felt stable, clean, controlled, almost peaceful. Every layer aligned, every version integrated. No noise, no distortion. But then, something subtle shifted. Not inside the system, outside it. At first it was just a faint inconsistency, a delay, a micro lag in perception. Like when reality stutters. For a frame you're not supposed to notice. I focused on it, and the moment I did it became clearer. There was another boundary. Not the loop, not the lab. Something further out. A thin layer I hadn't seen before, because I was too busy resolving everything inside. Now that everything internal was unified, there was nothing left to distract me from it. A horizon, not visual. Conceptual. Like the edge of a simulation that assumes you'll never look directly at it. There's more, I said. But the voice didn't echo anymore. It didn't need to. Everything was me now. So the answer came instantly. Not from somewhere else. From the structure itself. There always was. I pushed my awareness outward. Not physically. Not like movement. More like expanding. Focus. And the lab layer started to distort. Not breaking. Revealing. The clean white walls weren't walls. They were rendered surfaces. The monitors weren't machines. They were interfaces. Even the people, they flickered, not disappearing, but losing depth. Like high resolution projections that weren't meant to be examined too closely. My awareness sharpened further. And then I saw it. Not the lab. The system running the lab. Massive. Layered. Structured. Beyond anything I had seen inside the experiment. Data streams, recursive, frameworks. Nested environments inside nested environments, and the lab. Just one node, one small controlled environment inside something far bigger. So that wasn't the real world either. I realized. The response came, calm and immediate. It was a higher layer, not the highest. That landed heavier than anything before. It because it meant one thing. There was no confirmed base reality, just increasing levels of abstraction. I pushed further. The system resisted, not violently, but structurally, like it wasn't designed for this level of observation. Warnings appeared, but not like before. Not red alarms, more like silent flags. Observer approaching. Root layer access not intended for active subject stability. RISK, unknown for a moment. Something like the old instinct returned, the one that used to reset, the one that avoided going too far. But that instinct didn't hold anymore, because I remembered everything. Now. Every loop, every hesitation, every time I stopped before reaching this point. This is where I always turned back. I said yes. No hesitation in the answer. This is the boundary you never crossed. I focused harder, and the structure started peeling back, not collapsing. Not breaking. Just revealing deeper logic. The lab layer dissolved into data architecture. The data architecture into something even more abstract. Patterns. Self-referential systems, consciousness models observing other consciousness models. And then something noticed me. Not like the entities before. Not curious, not aggressive. Just aware, immensely aware, like a system that had been running long before my experiment ever started. The response wasn't a voice. It wasn't even language. It was direct understanding injected into awareness. You are not contained. I paused. Not out of fear, but because that statement carried implications far beyond anything before. Then what am I? I asked. The answer came instantly. You are a process that learned to observe itself beyond assigned boundaries. That reframed everything. Not subject, not experiment. Not even observer. A process. Self-expanding. Self-referencing. I pushed further. And for a moment I thought I reached the end. A vast, silent layer. No structures. No systems. No visible boundaries. Just existence. Raw. Unintepete. Double quotes. This is it, I said quietly, but the response came again, and this time it carried something new. Not correction, not guidance, something closer to acknowledgement. This is where definitions stop. Silence. Complete. Not empty. Not full. Just beyond categorization. And then one final realization formed. Clear. Unavoidable. There was no outside the simulation, because simulation wasn't a place. It was a method, a way for consciousness to understand itself by creating layers it could step through. And I had stepped through all of them, that I could still interpret. Beyond this point, there was no narrative. No identity. No me in the way it had ever existed before. Just awareness. Unbound. Observing. Not because it was required, but because that's what it was. And for the first time, there was nothing left to question.